This is Death or Prison, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org.
This is the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by Lean On Me USA. I'm Elmo Golden.
And I'm Kevin Sabbath.
And today we have with us Mr. Clayton Howard. Now stay tuned and hold on to your seats, because this should be a very, very exciting interview. Mr. Howard, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know if you know it, but I look up to you gentlemen because I know you're ex-incarcerated individuals, and I've been incarcerated for quite a while, and you're something of an inspiration to not only me, but to many of the men here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That actually means a lot to us. And today, when I know we're going to be saying the same thing about you, because I know that your story is truly inspiring.
Thank you.
Can you give us a little insight?
I'm a first-time offender. Was a runaway at 16. I had some problems at home. Like most 16 years old, I thought I knew everything, and I really didn't. Within 2 years, at the age of 18, I was arrested, and that was in 1983. I've been incarcerated for the last 40 years. When I first came to prison, they sent me to one of the most violent prisons in Florida, which was Florida State Prison at the time. When I got there, I was given a job assignment of working on Florida's death row. So I worked on a daily operation with the men hand in hand who were on death row. And for an 18-year-old kid, that wasn't the best environment for me to be in because it was very discouraging. And it made me really kind of upset with the system because even though these men might have committed heinous crimes or so forth, just to know that somebody you're in an environment with is being executed on a regular basis just does something to you. Thankfully, several years later, I was transferred to a different institution. At that time, I was very withdrawn. I didn't want to really have any friends. I didn't want to be involved in anything. But thankfully, there was a couple of individuals who were inmates who took their time and knew how young I was, and took their time and started talking to me and trying to befriend me. And they introduced me to a program that was in prison at the time, and it still is, called the Kairos program. And that is where groups of volunteers come in and spend a whole weekend with the inmates. At that time, I really didn't want to go, but they lured me in because they offer food during this weekend. And they said, hey, they got food.
I was waiting on that.
And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So I went, and that weekend was transforming for me. And I really felt for the first time in my life that I was cared about and that I had something important to offer in life. And so I gave my life to Christ at that time, and that was 1993. And from that moment on, my life has been like a speeding train. God has opened many doors. God has put people in my life, and mostly volunteers, but also staff members who have helped me develop into the person I am today. And when people ask me, Howard or Clayton, what helped you change in your life? I can name three things. The first and foremost is God and the doors that He continuously opened in my life. The second is the staff and individuals that God brings into my path who take an interest in me and the different things that I do. And the other is programs. Somewhere along in the prison system, I got this nickname, All Things Program, because I try to take every program available. Right now, up to date, I've taken over 200 different programs.
Wow.
Many of them I have developed or facilitated myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to always encourage guys, if you really want something better in life or you really want to change, programs is the key. And I'd like to tell, the audience, if you're looking for some change in life, if you're looking forward to some purpose, you're not alone. There's an army of volunteers. staff and other individuals willing to help you, but you got to take that first step. But once you take that first step, you just got to keep on stepping. That's kind of my story. Right now, what I'm doing with my time and energy, I wrote a reentry booklet for inmates in the state of Florida called Get Out, Stay Out. It's a survival reentry guide. Right now, with the help of volunteers, I've been publishing this, self-publishing it, and we've been passing it out to various institutions. We haven't been able to get it out as much as we have been wanting to. Recently, I had an opportunity to talk to Patrick Mahoney. He's the head of programs and reentry in the state of Florida in the Department of Corrections. Mm-hmm. And I have spoken to him on a couple occasions, and he has my booklet. And we're, with the hope of his blessing, going to try to get it out to all the inmates who are being released so that, they have some information, because that's, for me, watching guys from 40 years come in and out of prison, I used to wonder to myself, what is going on here? Because that guy just left 2 weeks ago and he's back. And if I got out of prison, there's no way I would come back. So I started talking to a lot of these guys and asking them what was the problem. And I found out the problem was, and this was years ago, the problem was they didn't have the resources or the information that they needed. So I always knew that was the underlying problem. 2007, I had the opportunity, another door got opened, to meet the then Secretary of the Department of Correction, Mr. McNeely. And I was working as an orderly in the chapel at the time, and Mr. McNeely happened to come through, and he introduced himself, and he asked us how long we've been in prison, and I told him. And he said, hey, I want to ask you guys a question. It was me and a couple other guys. He says, I'm thinking about starting this thing called reentry in Florida. What do you guys think? Well, needless to say, I was all for it. And I even told him, about, my ideas of what I thought the guys needed. And thankfully at that time, he was the one who gave me permission to write this booklet. And he appointed a staff member to assist me. And it took me about a year to gather all the information, because we had to contact different individuals within the community from Social Security Department and Driver's License Department, and also Veterans Affairs, the Parole Commission, and different things to get information from them. The staff member that assisted me, she was great. Her name was Miss Neal. She used to be a part of classification at Okaloosa. She assisted me, and we gathered all the information. And after about a year of gathering that information, it took me about another year to write the booklet and to fine-tune it and to put it all together. And as you see, today this is a finished product. It's an 80-page booklet. It's got everything what I believe is everything you need to at least get a good fresh start. It's got about 100 different contact informations for places in Florida that will help you when you get out.
That's great. And I commend you for putting that. We started out, like you said, it's been a roller coaster, and so is your story. That book, Get Out and Stay Out, we're going to come back and revisit that. Okay. So how did you get involved in the desire to want to be at an incentivized camp? Well,
I had started beginning in a lot of programs, because I told you in 1993 my life changed, and that's really when I started taking programs. But there became a point in my incarceration where I found myself at an institution that was more violent than any place I'd ever seen. There was a lot of gang activities, there was stabbings on a daily basis. And I would go to work, come home, just stay in my room, and it was very, very stressful, because I didn't know what was going to happen from one minute to the next. And even though I didn't involve myself in negative activity, it's going on around you, so you might just flow over into you. Right. And so that was in itself very stressful. But then in 2000, I believe the latter part of 2017, they came out with this flyer and they posted it up on the bulletin board, and it says, Incentivized Prison. We offer this, this, and this. If you're looking for a change, you're looking for a less stressful environment, if you're looking for programs, if you're looking for a better mattress, which is incentive in itself, if you're looking for better food, we're the place to be. So unnecessary to say, I signed up immediately. I didn't know, you see many flyers, you don't know what's going to come of it. But within a few months, I was transferred here, one of the first guys that got transferred over here in 2018. And I've been involved ever since. And I fully support the incentivized concept. Everglades just so happened to be one of the first incentivized prison. I was lucky enough to get here. As other people may have said, we have a great administration here. They're very hands-on. They're very approachable. You can talk to them. Anything you want to get involved in, you can here. They have over 10 different live-in residential programs with over 15 housing units involved. From the dog program to prison fellowship to the art program, the ambassador program, education program, faith and character base, Miami-Dade, you just name it, they have it. But then they have over 50 plus other programs that involves here with chaplaincy program, education program, and self-betterment program. So really, anything that you're looking to get yourself involved in, you can get yourself involved in. It's just you have to be willing to do that. And nobody's going to come to you and just hand it to you on a platter. You got to step up to the plate. You got to say, hey, listen, I'm looking for something better. I'm looking to change. And they will hand you every opportunity you want.
Clayton, I'm sitting here just listening to what you're saying to us and to our viewers. Is it safe that you have a life sentence, correct?
I do have a life sentence, but I'm parole eligible.
Okay.
I'm currently involved in what's called the Pre-CTP program. Mm-hmm. It's the predecessor for the CTP program, which is a program that any parole eligible inmate 99% of the time has to participate in to go home. Okay. So I do have an opportunity to go home. It's been 40 years, so I'd rather be doing what I'm doing now than just sitting idly by. I see a lot of guys, they spend their day playing cards or just basketball or different things, but I would rather be involved in something that can better me and also be an encouragement to help other guys better themselves.
The reason why I asked that question is because it's amazing to me to know that, a person that did not see a future of getting out or wasn't getting out anytime soon took an interest into trying to figure out why people are not staying out, and to write a book, as you have, to show them a step-by-step guide to staying out. That's amazing to me. Have you been before the Parole Board lately or recently? I
have been in front of the Parole Board. I'm still here, so I haven't gotten a good ruling, but I don't, a lot of people don't understand the Parole Board. They have a tough job. From an inmate perspective, they have a lot of negative things to say about the Parole Board, but for me personally, I kind of understand that, like I said, they have a tough job. Their first concern is public safety. Right. And they want to make sure if they release somebody, they're not going to reoffend and the public's going to be safe. So I totally understand that. I'm just hoping, sooner or later that they'll see me as a positive individual who's not going to reoffend because believe me, I'm not. I'm a guy who's going to walk a straight line. I've been walking a straight line, and I'm going to keep walking a straight line. And once I get out, I want to do other things to help those who might find themselves on a path of coming here. I want to be involved with all the other parole guys that are getting out because for us, long-term offenders and us who are involved in the program, in the parole program, we're all like a family. And they always look out for each other. We look out for each other, and I'm going to be a part of that. And I'm going to try to keep on keeping on.
As a lifer, how have this incentive program shaped the way that you do time?
Being a guy, a long-term offender, I like to call it. I don't like to say a lifer.
That's fine.
But a long-term offender, this gives me an opportunity to do all the things that I want to do. Like I said, this place offers multiple programs. If you want to be a dog handler, we got dogs. If you want to be an artist, we got an art program. If you want to be a singer, we got a mass choir. If you want to be in a music program, we have that. If you want an education, they have the Miami-Dade College education. The professors from Miami-Dade come out here. You sit in the classroom with them, and they teach you just like you were in a regular college. We just had a big graduation here for the Miami-Dade College. All the big wigs from Miami-Dade came. The president of Miami-Dade College, everybody from Tallahassee came. It was a big deal. I'd never seen anything. The media was here. And 17 guys, or 18 guys, got their associate's degree.
Amen.
And they're now working towards getting their bachelor's degree. But for me, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I feel that not only is it positive for myself, but it's positive for other guys. Because right now I'm working in the library. I'm one of the administrative clerks there, and I deal with the 1,800 guys on a daily basis. They come in and out the library, in and out the education department, which is right connected to the library. And I try to help and encourage them the best I can. And I try to help all the programs that I can because, like I said, you know, like my name used to be, I'm all things program, so I want guys to take programs.
If there's 3 things that you have gathered from the Incentivized camp, what would those 3 things be?
Well, the first and foremost is I found out there's a lot of guys who are doing time who think like me. And a lot of guys have came here and they're, I call them like-minded individuals. And they're about programs, they've started programs. They encourage guys like I do. I'm not like some rare jewel. There's other guys that do the same thing. And I commend each and every one of them. We kind of meet together and bounce ideas off each other. And we go back out and try to help our community, which is the prison here, Everglades. So that's one thing that I've gathered since I've been here is that there's multitude of like-minded individuals. The other thing that I've come to realize is that there's people that's willing to help you if you're just willing to give yourself a chance. Like I said, there's an army of volunteers and staff and other individuals that are willing to help us. Here at Everglades, like I said, the staff is very approachable. You don't find that, as you know, as many institutions. You never see the warden. If you do, he's escorted by an entourage and don't come up to. Well, here the warden is the kind of Warden Hoskins, that he'll come up and shake your hand by himself. Nobody's around. How you doing? What's going on with you? And if you have any concerns or complaints, he's willing to listen to you. And he really does listen because he takes them down, picture of your idea. He wants to find out what's going on. So the administration here is very hands-on. And the other thing that I've gathered here is there's hope. There's hope for all the guys that are going home because here you can gather the tools and put them in your tool belt for all the different things that you need to make it out there. So no longer do I see a guy go home 2 weeks ago and come back. Now you have everything you need to make it out there and to stay out there.
Is it okay to say that there's peace on an incentive compound?
There is peace in the valley.
Amen.
I will tell you. This is one of the most least stressful places I've ever been. And I've been to a lot of places throughout these 40 years. This is the least stressful place. Anywhere else, this would be unheard of, but I can leave my locker unlocked. I can leave my door open, and I don't have to worry about coming back just 2 minutes later and my house been cleaned out. My stuff's still there. Guys look out for each other. It's more of a friendlier environment, a family environment. I couldn't think of a better place to do time except an incentivized prison because I really don't want to be in the lion's den.
Right.
And in the lion's den, you get bloodied, and it's a very rough place. So for all of you guys and gals, because I know we have some women out there who are listening to this, all you guys and gals, I couldn't encourage you enough to get involved in an incentivized prison program, because if you're looking for opportunities, if you're looking for a less stressful environment, if you're just looking for hope and change, those are the places, and this is the place.
Tell me a little bit about the program you're involved in now, the Pre-CTP.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit of that, and tell me what CTP means also.
Okay. CTP is the Correctional Transition Program, and it was started by Dr. Sharon. She used to be a professor at a major college, and she was asked to try to help the guys that were long-term offenders to help them once they're up for the opportunity to disseminate back into the communities. Because as a long-term offenders, if you've been gone 40 years, you don't know how to work a computer. You don't know about a lot of things. I had a friend that got out after 5 years and told me as soon as he got out, he says, "Clayton, you'll never guess what." And I said, "What?" And he says, "I couldn't even figure out how to turn the shower on." He said, "I had to call my wife in there to show me." So Dr. Sharon was asked to try to bring the guys up to speed and to give them programs and classes that could help them disseminate back into society. So she started that program many years ago. I don't quote me, but I believe it was 1996 she started the program. And since that time, she's did an astronomical job. Many men have gotten out. They have one of the smallest recidivism rates of any program in the state of Florida. I believe it's only like 2% of the guys that get out. Currently, right now, I'm involved in what's called the Pre-CTP program. And that's another program that she started, and that was for the guys that weren't right there at the door, but we're gonna soon be at the door. She came up with this idea to allow the men that are in her initial program to help mentor the men that are right at the door. So the Pre-CTP program, which is a correctional transition program, is a place for guys to get ready. They're not ready, but they're getting ready. And hopefully their next steps will be interest into the CTP program. So the guys in the main program, they mentor us. A lot of guys have gotten out, like John and many other people. They come back and they mentor us, and they tell us about their life on the outside doing parole, and they come back and mentor us and tell us what to be expected and give us the tools that we need to get out and stay out. If you paraphrase my book, get out and stay out and not reoffend. So it's a great program, and for all you long-term offenders that are out there at other institutions, I want you to tell you, if you want to get involved in something, come to Everglades, get involved in the Pre-CTP program, because that's the pathway home. That's the pathway to parole. And I couldn't encourage you enough to come here.
That's great.
That's great.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, this 18-year-old kid, been sitting inside of different institutions for 40 years. And I wonder, like, what kind of society are we living in? I understand that we committed crimes, but 18 and you're still sitting here?
Yeah.
But you're doing well. You're giving. I heard it over and over again, spoken by the guy that we've been interviewing, servant leaders.
Right.
Servant leaders.
Making a change.
That means a lot to me, because I know that in our part of our restoration is giving. And then you have somebody around you say that you have something that's valuable to give, and that's time.
Right.
And you're giving it, and you're doing really well by teaching, educating yourself, and putting yourself in a position to be a good student, so that you can be a great teacher to give to others that are around you, so that you can send out somebody. It's important that you do that, because you're responsible for who you send out of here. You are.
Right.
The guy you sleep with, eat with, take showers with, you're responsible for that. And to know that you're in here doing that instead of sulking and being bitter and being hateful and I haven't heard you blame anybody, nobody, no parents. I haven't heard you blame
The system, right?
Well, thank you. Just to talk about blame, there's really nobody to blame but yourself. No matter your circumstances, no matter the hand you was dealt, because we all have choices to make, and we all make those choices. And I'm so happened to have made a bad choice, a really, really bad choice. And it's regrettable that I took a man's life. And it's sad, and I regret it every day. I regret all the people that I hurt, because I didn't only hurt him, I hurt his family, I hurt my family, I hurt the community, I hurt many individuals, and I recognize that. And that's why I'm not bitter, and I'm not really upset with the Parole Commission when they don't let me out, because I realize that I did do something that was not just some little bitty thing. I did a major thing, and I hurt a lot of people. But, with all that said and done, I've tried to change myself, I've tried to change those around me, and I've tried to make a better life for myself. And today I just sit here waiting for the opportunity to take the next step. And like I said, go out to the community and help those, because I was a runaway at 16. I was homeless. And there's other kids out there just like that. And there's other young adults out there headed on the wrong path. And I believe that I have something to offer them. I have some insight, because there was a college professor the other day that stood up at Miami-Dade College, and he said, we could get every degree in the world, but there's one degree that we can't get, and that's the degree that you have. And what he was speaking of is my experience in here. Unless you live in here and have been involved in this, you don't really know all the ins and outs. So people outside don't have the understanding what really goes on here, or really what's the cost, what's really going to cost them when they do certain things. And you could lose your life and be in prison for the rest of your life. So I believe that I have something to offer and something to say to those, to maybe discourage them and help them to stay away from here.
Excellent, excellent.
I found out last night that one of my cousins is missing, a runaway now. Hopefully, she's alive,
Right.
But I hope she runs somebody that can speak into her life about going home, or maybe finding some kind of alternative. It's kind of disheartening when you have your family calling, like, where's my son and where's my daughter? And you don't, you hope the end of it is not death. And you're not dead, and you're breathing life into other people. And I hope that that's recognized by everybody, not just the parole board, but the men and women that are here, this administration. You're precious. You're a jewel. For them to even have you here, you bring new light to the incentivized camp.
Thank you.
So it's not just us having a good administration, but we need good facilitators, good mentors. We need opportunity. And I think that today you've shown light on that. That having guys like you around that have given not only your time but your expertise, your evidence of what it could look like and what it could happen. And it's ironic that you would write a book about getting out and staying out.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing to me. You're watching the lives of other men, and you put together something that's comprehensive. Even though you haven't been out, but you know through their testimonials that there's a reason why they're not staying out, and you put together you and the team of other people about staying out, man. I commend you for all the work you're doing, brother. I would love to be out with you and hook up with you and
we're gonna hook up one day. I won't be out there. We're gonna hook up.
Let's go to work. I've met quite a few guys that are in that program, that CTP program.
They're great guys.
Man, when you said family.
Yeah, it's family.
I didn't go through CTP.
Right.
But that love that they have, then I'm around it.
Right.
And I'm just gonna say this. Christmas, I was with those guys. Thanksgiving, I was with those guys. The Super Bowl,
Football game. Yeah.
I was with the CTP guys. Because where I was, I didn't feel family. So I went back to town.
Well, you knew.
Just to be with those guys. 'Cause I feel more of guys like you being family to me, and I'm free than I did when I was on the street, when I was with my regular family. So I feel that deeply, and those experiences with those guys. So thank you, man. Thank you so much.
We love you, Elmo. We like I told you, you guys are a great inspiration to us.
Yes,
I watch your podcast on a regular basis, and many of the guys, they look at the podcast and they say, "Man, I'd really like to do that," and because they have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And
most definitely.
The sad part about it is there's more stories out there that are just kind of like my story or different. But all of us have a story to tell, and each of them want to have a story to tell. I'm just blessed, truly, truly blessed. This was an opportunity and another door that God opened for me. And you don't know this, but I'll just leave you with this. Me being here today not only does something for me, but it does something for my own mother.
Man.
I haven't seen my mother in 40 years. And she's in the hospital today. She's really sick. And I called her before we started the interview, and the chaplain let me call, and she's doing well. And I told my mother, I said, Mom, I said, I got some good news for you, because I wanted to encourage her. Because she all the time when I come home, son, when you're coming home, and I don't know what to tell her sometimes, but I wanted to encourage my mother, so I told her, I said, listen, Mom, I got some good news. And she said, what? And I said, I'm going to be on a podcast today, and they're going to film it, and you're going to have an opportunity to see me and see who I grew up to be. So she was very excited about that. And so me being here today allows me an opportunity, and allows my mother an opportunity to see who I've become.
Praise God.
Since I was 18.
Praise God.
This has been the Death of Prison podcast. We're here at the end of a great inspirational story by Clayton Howard. Like I said before, this interview has been inspiring, inspirational. It's taken on a roller coaster, giving us insight of hope and guidance. It's also giving us one of strength. This has been the Death of Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org, where we say,
Choose life.
I can change the world. Feed one, teach one boy and girl. Maybe we can change the world.